Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Cannabis Show, where I am your hostess, Dr. Yolanda Henderson. All right, and always joined by my wonderful co-host,
Hen Henderson.
Bam.
We're gonna be Hen Henderson today.
Hen Henderson today. We got a lot to talk about, Hen Henderson. All right, well, welcome to November. This is the first Sunday of the month, so we're just celebrating Happy November. So where's some holidays in November, Mr. Henderson?
Oh man, Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Y'all
Big
thought I
shouts
was gonna
out.
say the other one, huh? Veterans Day.
Yeah. All right, so big shouts out to all of our veterans on Veterans Day. We have some information that you can use about Veterans Day coming up soon. All right, and then
yes, ma'am.
And what's the other one?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yes.
International Food Day.
Food Day.
Get ready.
Ready to eat some great food, y'all. That's the main thing, and the reason why I celebrate Thanksgiving.
Why?
Because of the food.
Because of the food.
Because of the food.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, we'll come back and rap about that later.
Yes,
we want to
we
tell
will.
y'all where y'all can watch the show here right quick so we can get on back to Bizzo. All right. Statusnetwork.net. Go to your internet browser, type that in, hit the Holistic Cannabis Show. Man, sorry, we're going to be in that zone. All right. Instagram, manifesttv.status. On Facebook, Status Network LLC. On Periscope, Twitter, status_network_, Amazon Fire Stick and Roku. We on Status Network, Manifest TV. On all those outlets, go look and find the Holistic Cannabis Show. If you want to call in when you got a question, got an opinion, something to say, yeah, man, it don't matter if we like it or not. It don't matter as long as you got an opinion about it. You can call in 470-251-4647.
That's right, y'all. That's right. All right, bam. So we're looking for callers, we're looking for sharers. Anybody that wants to share the show, please do so. We are wanting to go viral because we got some great information. Y'all, we're talking about this topic of the show today is talking about the elections and how cannabis is going to be on the ballots and who we're voting for here in Georgia, because it's a runoff for the first maybe black African-American woman to ever be elected governor. So we're excited about that. And if not, we're still going to be excited for Georgia because Georgia has been good to us. Thank you, Georgia. All right. So we're going to actually introduce our wonderful guest to the show, Mr. Ted Metz, after this quick video we have that we're going to show. And we'll talk about the elections right after this in Georgia.
Political risk tops our look at the big stories to watch out for in business and finance. America goes to the polls on Tuesday. At stake is control of Congress and the fate of Joe Biden's agenda. Polling suggests Republicans could take back control of both houses. U.S. inflation numbers will be closely watched on Thursday. Investors will look for any sign that price rises have peaked. Whatever the number, though, the Fed has already said it's too soon to talk about pausing rate hikes. Other data will be watched for signs that rate hikes could slow. Such hopes were dashed recently by big increases from the Fed and Bank of England. Though a more modest quarter-point rise in Australia led some to think increases might just be starting to slow. Chinese stocks have soared on hopes that strict lockdowns could soon ease. Now, trade, inflation, and credit data will show whether there are any real grounds for optimism on the country's economy. Currency traders will also watch for numbers on Beijing's foreign reserves, which have dwindled as China tries to prop up the yuan. And the COP27 climate talks begin in Egypt on Monday. The focus will be on what steps developed nations take to help developing countries cut their emissions and adapt their economies. Pressing worries over Ukraine, inflation, and other issues have dampened hopes for bigger breakthroughs.
These outrageous profits are the windfalls of war. Look, earlier this week I made clear that the industry has a choice. Either invest in America or pay higher taxes for your excess profits.
All right. So y'all saw it and heard
That's
it here.
what he said.
All right. So we have a quick caller that called into the show that we're very, very welcome to have them to call into the show to give us some news and information on what's happening in Georgia for Veterans Day. So all of my veterans, you all know Veterans Day is November the 11th, and we are excited to have Mr. James Messenger of One Plant. All right, so go ahead and say hello, James.
Well, hello, everybody. How you guys doing tonight?
All right, we're good. Thanks for calling in.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, so tell us about One Plant real quick, because this is a great organization that's helping veterans all over.
Yeah, well, One Plant was just something that I started years ago it's really to play on words because, it's all one plant, it's all cannabis, and I've been trying to educate folks on that for, almost going on a decade. And then recently we turned it into a nonprofit, and yes, we do try to help veterans, and we do a veterans event every year. And it's really about just changing the laws and the perception surrounding cannabis in Georgia and surrounding states. But yeah, we're actually going to do a veterans event coming up next Friday.
Awesome. Okay, and we have a quick flyer of that event that's coming up this Friday, Veterans Day. And I'm going to speak, so I'm excited about that. So thank you very much. And here it is. Here's the awesome flyer, and there's your One Plant, and then there's Atlanta Academy. There's a whole lot of companies in Georgia. Georgia Hero, Veterans for Cannabis, Nuts and Berries. I know Veteran Health Solutions. Shouts out, my girl at Minorities for Medical Marijuana. So
I see Ted up there.
Yes, Ted is up there. Yeah. And I mean, Georgia has this whole alliance. Isn't that something to be proud of, James?
Oh, it really is. There's a lot of Georgia companies that are affiliated with this. And then there's a lot of folks from out of state that are just really wanting to help veterans and then be involved in a veteran type outreach program. And that's what this event is about. Is really showing veterans that we honor them, we respect them, we love our veteran brothers and sisters that are out there. But we also want to show people that there's a better way. That cannabis and other natural alternatives are a better route than the VA and the pharmaceuticals that are pushed on a lot of our veterans. And we've seen positive effects. And, that's what this event is about. It's just showing our veterans that there's another way. And that's what this year's slogan is, there's a better way. And we've got a lot of great companies that are donating to this event. And I'm giving 50 bags away to 50 veterans in attendance. So the first 50 people who are veterans are going to get a bag full of these donated items. We're also going to have a raffle. Golden Drops Cafe has done this event for the last 6 years there. Of course, 1 year we didn't do it because of COVID, but for the last 5 years we've done it there. And this year they're going to cater the event. And it's a Dominican Republic coffee house, and they're going to have some authentic food for us, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great event. Bring your family, your friends, anybody who's a veteran. I would love for them to be there.
That's awesome. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, last year they didn't have catered food. That's going to be nice. All right.
Oh, yeah. If you were lucky enough to stick around until the end, his mother made some food for us last year, and it was, there's only about 10 or 12 or 15 of us that ate some of it, but, man, it was good, and I was thinking, we got to have this for everybody.
Yes, wonderful. That is great. So if anybody want to come out, it's going to be at the Golden Drop Cafe, and you have the address or the flyer?
It's going to be on that flyer.
It's on the flyer.
1780.
Okay.
Yeah, 1788 Claremont Avenue, I believe.
Okay, right down from the VA. So, and you all are going to be demonstrating, or is it going to be a live demonstration or no?
Yes, we're going to have speakers. We've got people flying in from Colorado, Massachusetts, coming in from out of state. Yes. And we've got some great speakers that are going to be speaking there. And then at the end, we'll do a casket demonstration where we take the casket and we walk down to the VA Medical Center and we actually post it in front of the medical center, and we have a little candlelight vigil and a remembrance of the fallen veterans.
I got a
Yes,
question.
that's awesome. That's amazing.
I got a question about that, James.
Yes, sir.
So the casket ultimately ends up in front of the VA,
Yes.
right? To raise awareness of the medication, right, and how it's not really helping. Last year at the last event, someone recited that there were roughly 22 veterans who die every day.
Yes.
Correct.
Has that number went down or has that number increased since that statement was made?
Well, I mean, we've been using the 22 a day since about 2015. I think that was when the VA came out with the statistics, and they said that at that time there was 22 veterans killing themselves every single day. And according to those same VA statistics, as of last year, I think the number was down to about 18. But again, as with all suicide statistics, they're a lot of times they're not reported correctly, or we don't know. We don't know if they committed suicide. You know, there's so many circumstances involved, and science says that there's more than what's usually reported. So whether it's 18 or 22, it's too many.
Right.
Too many.
The reason I was asking is in some states where veterans actually have access to cannabis as a treatment, if that's ever a gauge to measure, could we in fact measure against that as far as
The legalization.
right, helping toward the legalization and saying, hey, man, we know that cannabis is working because we got statistics of this.
Absolutely. There was a study that was actually done, and I think it was done in 15, 16, 17, somewhere back a few years, and they need to do a new study because, you know, as you know, in 12 to 14 was when the first states legalized. So, I mean, 15, 16 wasn't that much into it. Now we've got like 75% of the country that's legalized. But they found that there was a 25% reduction in opiate overdoses and emergency room visits in states that had legalized cannabis. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah, that's proof right there. That's all the proof you need.
That's awesome,
and that study can't be found. I mean, I can find it and send the link, but that's an actual study.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Advocacy, advocate,
Yes,
and
yes.
vote.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we thank you for coming on the show today. We actually want to have you physically in person here soon. So whenever you have time on a Sunday, just let us know.
Yeah, I would love to. And yeah, I hope everybody makes it out. That's going to be at the Golden Drops Cafe, Claremont Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, right down from the VA Medical Center, next Friday, 11/11 at 11.
All right.
That's what's up.
Thank you so much. All right, James. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay.
You guys have a great evening.
You
You
too.
too.
All right, so y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it from Mr. James about the wonderful event that they're going to have for veterans. So you all come out. If you're a veteran, a family of a veteran, a friend of a veteran, everybody knows a veteran. So come on out, show some support for those 18 or too many. All right, suicides a day. And with the medications, oh my gosh, they gave us so many medicines that I was, you know, I can tell a story, write a book about all the medications versus the cannabis and the natural stuff that I've been using, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, it comes natural from the earth, okay? But unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand, and it's stigmatized to make it such a bad thing to be able to indulge in, whether you're taking it in a pill form, whether you're taking it in a vape pen, whether you're taking it on your skin as a topical, or whether you inhaling it in a inhaler. All right, so there are so many different things that you can do with cannabis, and I teach it right over at the Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science in alliance with the Gift of Life Community Home, and we have classes starting. So we're excited about our new courses and our new location. We have some photos of that. Yes, the weekends only medical cannabis classes, or the cannabis classes now enrolling. All right, so we're going to be starting. All right, so this was October the 22nd, but we also start every Saturday. So November the 19th, we're going to be starting. Next week, November the 12th, we start. So we start every week. Okay, so if you're interested, go ahead and give us a shout. Go to the Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science.com or the Gift of Life Community Home, which we're state approved under that nonprofit, the Gift of Life Community Home. .org or .wordpress.com, and you are able to enroll in the institute, the Gift of Life Community Home Institute. All right, and so if you can't come to us though, we do offer online. All right, so go ahead and get your phones, get your apps, your tablets, and you can do our courses wherever you are. All right, with our live remote training. All right. And in other news, we have Mr. Ted Metz, which is our guest here today, that we want to go ahead and introduce him and allow him to tell you all what he does and how you all may have been impacted already or going to impact your lives on Election Day, which is on Tuesday, with his wonderful presence. So thank you again for joining us, Mr. Ted Metz. Welcome to the Holistic Cannabis Show.
Well, thank you, Yolanda and Hen, for having me on today.
Hey.
I just emailed you the Veterans Day graphic.
Okay.
I made that graphic.
Okay.
I've been helping James with this for like the last 7 years or so.
Wow.
And
wow.
We had so many sponsors this year, I really didn't have room to put the address on it. So my apologies for
That's
that.
okay.
Just go Google Golden Drops.
Golden Drops.
Go
there
Google
you go.
Golden Drops by the VA. I mean, how can you miss that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So wonderful. So tell us, Ted, about everything that you do. I know that you're doing wonderful, great things. And if you have a video, if you want to drop it in the chat or however, and we want the world to see what you're doing, because you've already been on platforms worldwide. You've already in the TV and the media. So, I mean, how does that feel versus, advocating and getting people to understand how well cannabis works as medication?
Oh gosh, you asked like 18 questions there. Where do I start? We can certainly start with the cannabis, and I am living proof that cannabis is a healer.
Yes.
We could talk about my experience with cancer. You can see that I've lost a few body parts, like the side of my head.
Right.
And frankly, after the radical cancer surgery, I had nerve damage to the point where my face was drooping on this side, and I couldn't smile, and I had difficulty speaking.
Wow.
I had some other, I had some major muscle groups removed because of infiltration of cancer.
Okay.
So I essentially had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to speak. I had to relearn how to eat.
Oh wow.
And because of the cannabis and the nerve regenerative properties of both the cannabis and specifically the cannabigerol molecule, CBG.
Oh, wow.
I really truly believe without that I would be like hobbling around and mumbling my words worse than I already do.
Wow.
So yes, I actually started advocating for cannabis at the legislature, I want to say about 2015, 2014, when they first started talking about it. And one of the guest speakers is going to be Dr. Uma Danabalan. She's also like a world-renowned cannabis actual medical doctor in a cannabis practice, and she speaks all over the world about it. She'll be at the event on Friday, at the veterans event, so she'll speak to that.
Yes.
Anyway, trying to get the legislators to understand that, yes, indeed, number one, it is a gift from God to keep us healthy. But the cannabis plant, above and beyond all of that, has food qualities. The seeds have 17 amino acids, like 5 different omega fatty acids. It's a perfect combination of protein and fat. It is the perfect food, and I think maybe God even gave it to us as manna from heaven. But also the fiber can be clothes, it can be used as a construction material, it can be refined into oil to replace diesel fuel. I mean, the possibilities to have a green economy based on cannabis, whether it be, I guess, lawfully defined as marijuana or lawfully defined as hemp, it's the same plant. The difference between a marijuana plant as legally defined in the lexicon is that it has greater than 0.01% THC. And THC, of course, is tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the molecule that causes people to be happy. Isn't that a shame? So the thing about the plant is you have red roses and you have white roses. They're still a rose. But the difference is really in the enzymes and the enzyme pathways of the metabolic process of the plant. All cannabinols and cannabinoids start out with cannabigerol, which is the precursor molecule to all of it. And then as the plant ages and grows and goes through the metabolic process of expression of the enzymes in the plant, it can go to all the different cannabinols and cannabinoids, which there are many. But THC is just one of the ultimate end products after, carboxylation of the tetrahydrocannabinolic acid molecule. But you know all that already. So
That's right.
If you're interested in that, please go and study with Yolanda. She'll teach you all about it.
There you go.
I've been studying it for years and years. Obviously, I am considered by a lot of people as an expert in cannabis science.
Great.
And
Yes.
what else do you want me to say about that other than, cannabis is a real thing?
It is.
And legislatively, let's talk about the legislative history of cannabis.
Okay.
Originally, during the reefer madness era back in the 30s, it was a cultural thing among Latinos, essentially, in Southern California. And the California people that ran, the mayors of the town and all that, didn't like the Mexicans being happy all the time. So they actually made it illegal on like a local level in California first to keep the Latinos from it. I say Latinos, I really mean Mexican Americans who were probably there long before any white man hit California. So they're using it as a mechanism for control of the population. And it works so well in California, as goes in California, eventually goes for the rest of the states, right? So then came reefer madness, and the whole push after the prohibition of alcohol was finally thrown out as a constitutional. It was no longer constitutional because they passed an amendment to bar alcohol. It didn't work out so well for them, so they repealed the amendment to ban alcohol. And then we had this huge infrastructure within the federal government looking for a job, essentially. So what did they do? They said, oh, well, cannabis, it's everywhere. We'll never eradicate it, so let's attack cannabis. So hang on a second. In 1937, they passed what's called the Marijuana Stamp Act of 1937. And it's fairly interesting, the legislative history and probably also the people behind it, bankers and industrialists and oil refiners, et cetera. And paper manufacturers, the paper mills for the newspaper industry, those people pretty much had a friend in Congress, and they said, hey, why don't we ban this as a protective measure? DuPont was into patent medicines, among other things, but also the patent for nylon was granted in February of 1937. So here we come on November of 1937. We get the Marijuana Stamp Act, which made it illegal to grow cannabis without a license. So they said, okay, well, now we're not going to issue any licenses. So that went on for a long time. So actually hemp and marijuana or cannabis were suddenly outlawed. It took the American Medical Association about 5 years to figure out that their most popular ingredient in most of their medicines, THC, was banned and illegal. But at that point, they had no recourse. So we move ahead to 1969, and one of our good friends in the hippie movement, Timothy Leary, successfully argued to the Supreme Court that just the process of applying for a marijuana stamp, excuse me, violated your Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination. So the Supreme Court threw it out.
They sure did. Wow.
Sorry, I swallowed
okay.
something.
That's okay. Thank you. Wow, my goodness. All
But
right.
let me finish.
Okay,
Because
go
this
ahead.
gets into the Nixon administration.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, tell us about President.
Okay, so suddenly they couldn't keep marijuana from the hippies and the jazz musicians. So they did the Drug Enforcement Act of 1970.
Oh, the DEA.
And the DEA established a schedule of narcotic drugs.
Wow. The harsh
And the
stuff.
the Schedule 1 basically said that that if a substance had no medical benefit, had a propensity for addiction, and something else, basically it went on Schedule 1.
Yeah.
But what we know from about marijuana, it does have healing properties.
It does.
It's not addictive.
It's not. No more than caffeine, Coca-Cola.
So anyway, we've been dealing with that ever since. And my idea about attacking, taking the federal government back to court over the fact that they don't have the legislative authority to outlaw a plant without, just like alcohol.
Right.
It required an amendment to the Constitution signed by enough states to make it stick.
Right.
We really need to take that approach, and depending on how the outcome of the selection cycle is,
Yeah.
that's one of my projects is to find enough people to fund a good lawyer
Right.
to take the federal government to court over their lack of authority to
Yeah.
outlaw a plant.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of election authority,
Uh-huh.
how's your campaign going?
How's your campaign?
I'm kind of thinking it's coming to a close. It's been a really interesting campaign cycle.
Right.
For people that don't know me, I am running for Secretary of State for the state of Georgia.
That's right.
And one of the reasons I'm running for Secretary of State is I have been involved in the election integrity space for going on 10 years now. I've been advocating for hand-counted paper ballots and get rid of the electronics.
That's right.
Because anything in how many people out there in radio land, raise your hand, how many people out there know someone whose Facebook account has been hacked?
Right.
It can be hacked.
How many people have
Okay.
gotten a letter from their credit card agency saying that their database has been hacked?
Right. The same thing can happen to a voting machine.
My.
And that's just it. There are so many different vulnerabilities. The thing you don't understand or most people don't understand about the voting machine. Actually, there's a video on the homepage of my website, tedmetz.com. Tedmetz.com. And I will continue spreading that video around because it was a presentation by a lawyer, a law professor out of New Mexico named David Clements.
Right.
And over the years, he's been handling cases about the problems with the voting machines. So he has a compilation of every different aspect of the voting machine. I wish I had a graphic right now I could pull up, but I don't. But essentially, you go to vote, your ballot marking device prints out your ballot, you take your ballot, you stick it in another machine that's called the tabulator. The tabulator accumulates the votes on an SD card kind of like that.
Right, right.
Oop, put that in front of my face. Okay, the SD card
SD
gets
card.
pulled out, put into another machine. The data is transferred pretty much all around the world twice. It goes through the system called Edison, which feeds the News Bureau. It goes to this company called Citel, which is headquartered in Spain, which accumulates the votes and then sends them back to the Secretary of State's office.
Wow.
Wow.
But there's more to it than that even. But every step is a potential risk because we don't have good chain of custody documents on who's handling the SD cards, who's handling the ballots, you know, where the ballots are coming from, signature matching, like all kinds of stuff that are problematic. So if we went back to, you know, print on demand ballots when somebody comes in to vote, don't have a problem with absentee ballots. That's not really what we're talking about here. Absentee ballots is another issue, which does require, you know, the law, the SB 202 kind of cleaned it up in that if you're putting a request in for an absentee ballot, you have to produce ID essentially, which
Wow.
I don't think anyone has a problem with ID, except for the ACLU and some of the black grievance industry people who say, oh, black people can't get an ID.
Wow. Well,
And we know that's you know, even all of my, you know, I've got, you know, my friend circle, right? All of them say that's such BS. They can't stand hearing it because it makes them out to be stupid, and they're not stupid, and they hate being called stupid.
Right.
And everybody has an ID. You got to cash a check. You got to get booze and cigarettes and you know, nasal spray at the grocery store. You know, everybody's got an ID. It's not hard to get. Back in the day, when people were still born at home without a birth certificate, you know, for those folks it was a little bit different. But most of those people have been buried since then.
Right.
You know, and you know, getting a state ID, it doesn't cost anything. You just go and get it.
Right.
So, you know, it's a non-argument. It's only a talking point from people who try to make it a talking point to keep people on their plantation, more or less.
Right. Right.
But both parties do that. So you can't vote for the other party because, you know, you can't vote for a third party because the other party will win.
Right.
You know, so there's all this talk about trying to keep, you know, it's essentially trying to keep people in their party to maintain power and control.
Right.
And the funny thing about that is a real recent survey showed that 42% of Americans would rather be independent. So only like 24% are claiming to be Republican and 23% are claiming to be Democrat. But that's the only two parties we got, right? Democrats and Republicans, because in Georgia, independent candidates and third-party candidates can't get on the ballot. So that's one of my big issues is trying to end the petitioning requirement for third-party and independent candidates. Because if we had more voices in government, there'd be a lot less shenanigans going on.
Right.
Wow. Yep. That's so true.
You know, because that's how it goes. You have to go through party primary, so you got like 8 or 9 candidates you're fighting against, and usually it's not the best person that wins.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And then on election day you have to vote for the least objectionable people from either party.
Right.
That's not the way to do it. We need independents to get on the ballot. In Georgia right now, it requires 5%. Signatures from 5% of the registered voters for the race that you're running in. For U.S. Congress, it's like 25,000 signatures is the average number in most counties in Georgia. It's an unattainable number.
Is there for a libertarian? There's for a libertarian
Independent or third party.
to get on the ballot.
Yes, libertarian. Libertarians won statewide access to the ballot. And we're trying to maintain that by getting at least 1 million votes in every election.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's an issue, and that's something I've been fighting for. We've gotten a couple of legislators to write legislation, but it always, you know, David Ralston always wouldn't allow it on the floor. Because, you know, he's part of the slave masters, pardon me, that wants to keep order and keep power.
Okay, well, we gotta get rid of him.
Well, he announced that he's taking his hat out of the ring to be the Speaker of the House again, but he's still running in his district.
Okay.
But he's going to retire as Speaker of the House.
Who gonna step
So that
up?
may improve things.
Right.
Who you think will step up?
I don't really know.
You?
I don't know.
You?
Well, the Speaker of the House requires being a member of the legislature, and I'm running for Secretary of State, so I'm not in that race.
Right. Okay. Well, we're excited. I saw your name and I voted for you on the ballot. I early voted. So there was a record number of voters here in the state of Georgia for early voting. And so I was just excited about that. And I have part of the election debate that you was on, and I want to capture that video here and just want to just show you that we appreciate everything you're doing in the cannabis space and in this space right now, where we're using this platform to be able to reach people who don't normally learn about cannabis and its great benefits. So that's what we're doing here. And again, thank you for coming on the show. And go ahead.
I just want to say that the other thing, I've been involved with James on the Veterans Day thing.
Yes.
We encourage strongly all veterans to reach out to us, because I know so many veterans, they finally got on some cannabis products, and they stopped taking like 50 prescriptions a day. Wow. The VA is nothing more than a pill mill run by Big Pharma.
Wow.
Big Pharma, it kills us.
Yep.
You know the difference between a drug and a medicine?
Yeah. Oh.
Drugs are made in a laboratory.
Yes, that's what I study. That's why I study naturopathy. So I study natural health and natural medicine. Yep. The plant is what we learn in school.
Right. So even if I don't win Secretary of State, I'm going to continue my fight to push cannabis at all levels to all people that need it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, you got my vote, man. Yes. You got 2 votes right here, man.
There you go.
I'm hearing that a lot, and I appreciate it. And it really couldn't go to a better person, better suited for this.
Yeah, man, you
got
this, man. You got this.
Database administration and computer science and all that stuff.
Yep.
I know this stuff backwards and forwards.
You got this,
That's
man.
Right.
Come on, Georgia. Y'all better come on,
Georgia.
Ted Metz. Put him on there. Secretary of State, man. Put him on there.
All right, be blessed, you guys.
All right,
man,
thank you. All right, so
that's my guy right
Mr.
there,
Ted Metz. Yes, he is awesome. We have known him for several years, and since being in Georgia, he is awesome. Has been a big advocate for years, well beyond what we know and what we see. So we thank him for all that he do. And we have a quick clip, if I'm not, we do have a quick clip on his debate. So we're going to watch this right after this.
Paper ballots cast on paper, but also counted by.
As a mom who teaches my kids to tell the truth, I can't vote for Herschel Walker.
As a survivor of domestic violence.
As a senior.
As a teacher. As a Christian.
As a real police officer. I can't vote for Herschel Walker. Period.
Stop. Before you do any holiday shopping this year, you really have to see this. I'm going to show you one simple trick that'll save you a lot of money when you're shopping online. In fact, I was able to save $350 this month.
Hand on paper rather than using optical scanner machines. But hand counting ballots would take longer, and studies and research show that hand counting ballots is less accurate than counting them by scanning machines. Why do you think hand counting ballots would increase voter confidence?
Because humans generally have a tendency to want to be honest. The thing is, they do it in France, where they have over 42 million voters. They go to election day, it's all hand counted at the precinct level, and the election results are done that night. So I don't know where you're coming up with the studies that indicate that hand counting ballots would take any longer. We already have ballot marking devices that actually do accurately reflect the voters' intent for their candidates. There's no reason that we can't hand count the paper ballots. Even if we do use an optical scanner that is used to actually look at the votes, not the QR code, which is an illegal addition to our ballots, we'd still have a much better idea of what the accurate count of the ballots were or is. Because once you put things into a computer system, your votes become a fractionalized, manipulated data point, not an actual vote.
Mr. Metz, thank you. Matt Brown, it's your turn to ask a question to B. Wynn.
Thank you. Representative Wynn, after the 2020 election, Georgia election workers endured death threats, harassment, and lawsuits. making these positions less desirable and even more important. Because poll workers have such a direct impact on elections, should the Secretary of State's office be more involved in recruiting and protecting poll workers?
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about what is happening with our election administration, we need a comprehensive plan. And it's important to also understand that after the passage of Senate Bill 202, the workload on our local...
All right, you all can find that clip on YouTube, okay? Mr. Ted Metz, he also had something to say about cannabis, and we didn't have time to get to that today, but if you want to go and view what he had to say about cannabis in the debates, we want you to go and look at that again. YouTube, Ted Metz Debates 2022. All right, so in other news, Georgia, congratulations to the Bulldogs for another win. 27-13 was the final. Georgia did their thing again, and we're so sad Tennessee did not. And they were ranked number 1, right, Mr. Henderson?
Georgia beat Tennessee, all right? That's the point she's trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? That's the point she's trying to get
That's
to.
the point. That's
you know
the whole point.
Don't be knocking my home town.
That's the whole point, Mr. Henderson.
Home,
That's right. That's right. All right. So there's a new study that shows that adult use legalization doesn't influence children's attitudes towards cannabis. Legalization had no significant effect on young people's perceived risk of cannabis use, researchers reported. And then there is another analysis that says consumers in cannabis purchasing patterns are determined by price and ease of access. The higher prices and inconvenience of legal sources are the most common barriers to purchasing legal cannabis, authors concluded. And in the latest news, in D.C., the mayor signs legislation raising marijuana possession limits for patients. All right, and get the details on NORML. The report shows that legal cannabis once again ranks among nation's most valuable crops. And then millions of Americans to cast votes for marijuana legalization on Election Day. All right, and that's in 2 more days, is it? Yeah, on the 8th. All right, so study, inhaled cannabis, safe and effective for treating chronic low back pain. Back pain patients experience far greater relief from smoking cannabis than they did from taking the CBD. Mm-hmm. And I've talked about that over and over again. The cannabis smoking inhalation of THC helps as such your use a rank of extra strength or over the counter. You know, you want to get those more milligrams, you want to go with THC. If you want a smaller dosage, and you can't handle THC at first, we suggest everyone to start with CBD. All right, so Migos rapper Takeoff, Mr. Henderson, he is dead at 28 years old. All right, so y'all heard it here. So sad, so sad. Too soon. That's what we always say. Gone too soon. Oh, Mr. Henderson.
The strain, next strain is gonna be grape ape, the indica monkey. Look at that nugget right there, man. Look like it's waiting to beat you across your head when you break that
goodness.
up. All right.
That's so funny.
Check this out. It's 18% THC, just 18%, but check this out. It does not show a CBD reading. Not to say the CBD is bad, and the trichome or the terpene profile is myrcene. And myrcene is good for what?
Pain.
That's what I'm talking about. Check this out. Low THC, man, it's that good. The flavor and aroma tastes like and smell like grapes. The top effect, though, that people reported was sleepy.
Yeah, it's the indica.
Grape ape is propagated by Apothecary Genetics and Barney's Farm. Is a mostly indica strain that crosses Mendocino Purps, Skunk, and Afghani. I had them all. Named for its distinct grape-like smell, this indica is known for providing carefree relaxation that can help soothe pain, stress, and anxiety. I'm telling you, when my back be hurting, man, I'm reaching for that. Its dense, compact buds are wreathed in deep purple leaves, which darken as this indica reaches full maturation following its 7 to 8 week flowering time.
Ooh.
Man, eight weeks in 2 months.
That's 2 months. Yeah.
In 2 months. You see what I'm saying? If I'm knowing that I have chronic back pain,
right,
within 2 months, I can have something that viably helps my illness. Bro,
right.
If y'all don't come on, man, and stop playing with this illness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Vote a lot of y'all out. Now check this out to show you how hard the cannabis business running. Puffy.
Diddy.
I ain't calling no grown dude Puff.
I ain't calling.
Sherlock Holmes acquires legal marijuana operation, kicking off the largest black-owned weed company in the world. All right?
Okay,
now,
Diddy, we gonna have to get you the
also.
pass. I mean,
by this purchase, check this out. Diddy was also named a billionaire.
Wow,
Right?
he's a billionaire all the way.
He's making money moves.
All right, scoot over. Uncle Snoop.
They took one
Y'all have to
billionaire
collaborate.
off the list. They took one billionaire off the list and added
another one. Y'all saw that, Kanye?
I'm still rocking with my boy though.
Jesus.
I'm still rocking with my boy.
In the name of Jesus.
Now they on Kyrie Irving head.
Oh Lord.
And they telling him that he needs to apologize. But see, the thing is, and this is what I could respect, whether it's on the wrong side or the right side. There's one thing that you gotta respect about both of these individuals. They say exactly what's on their mind. And any way to feel about it is up to you,
right?
Not them. All right. I can appreciate that right there all day long, man. Ye ain't got no problem saying it is what it is. No problem. Kyrie Irving, no problem saying exactly how they feel. So while everybody is willing to criticize them guys for speaking a piece, for speaking their mind, then how can you possibly take the stance that yourself has freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is just what that is.
Yes.
Freedom of speech. But keep in mind that there are also repercussions to those speeches that you use so free. All right? Now, part of those situations is now people who used to hang around you don't hang around you. Some people say that that's good because if you're a person that speaks the truth, the more people that you lose out of your circle, the less people that you have to watch, which means your chances of being betrayed by somebody in your circle goes down the more that they leave out. But on the other side, though, where it can be where speaking the truth can be bad, is the tongue is a double-edged sword. What you say, you also should be practicing and preaching. Ain't no way you got to $1 billion status without dealing with them folks that you calling out, my brothers. You dealt with them, and you dealt with them business-wise in an intimate level. So now, for y'all to, oh man, I just had an awakening, and this is what it was. See, even though Kanye is not a billionaire anymore, he's still a multi-millionaire. He still got more money than a lot of people. He ain't zero broke.
No.
Yeezy ain't gonna be zero broke.
No.
Neither is Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be zero broke. But if anybody is around these two fellas, y'all just make sure that y'all be aware of your surroundings, man, and really watch out for them two brothers' lives. Because what they doing is just speaking their truth.
Yeah.
And if they can make an example by ruining those who speak their truth, then it's just a matter of time before they'll rig you too for speaking your truth.
Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing about nothing. Just obey. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's all that they want you to do. They would rather not deal with the hassle of free thinkers. And when you become a free thinker, you become a threat, regardless of what your skin color is. Once you become a free thinker, you become a threat to the established system that's set up to control.
We're not in communist China.
Yeah.
All right. We hope. All right. So we thank you for all of that information. NTH credit. What do we have, Mr. Henderson?
The feds meet this week, y'all.
Okay.
All right. The feds meet this week. This credit section is brought to you by NTH Credit, www.nthcredit.net. I'm going to tell you how to get that money.
All right.
It's about to be the holiday times right here. And a lot of people get sad and depressed over finances, man, and they go out and overspend for Thanksgiving, you know, the travel and the presents for Christmas and everything. You know, they go out and overspend. Hey, man, put your budget together of what you're going to spend and stick to that budget. You know your money more than I know your money, but if you need me to get acquainted with your money, I'm available to get acquainted with your money.
There you go.
888-959-2093. You need a financial coach, somebody to help you navigate these waters, somebody to help you strategically plan out your paycheck so that you ain't living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you considering bankruptcy. If you're considering bankruptcy, hey man, all is not lost. We can still bring you back. www.nthcredit.net. Now, real quick, I'm finna shoot you with it right quick.
Okay.
All right. The feds meet this week. And one of the things that will definitely come out of that meeting, the interest rate going up. The interest rate going up. Guess what they doing behind the scenes on us?
What are they doing?
They switched the credit scoring model. How about that? Now, that's not getting talked about nowhere, but let me tell you the implications. Now they done moved to FICO 4. Vantage 4.0 and FICO 10T. Now, if y'all remember now, a couple months ago, I told y'all about FICO 10T, where FICO 10T is bad, boy. That's a bad piece of equipment right there. It goes all the way back to look at your past 2 years of payment history. Now, the benefit from them switching the scoring model, Vantage 4.0 will do the same thing. So that means the way that you see your Credit Karma scores, your Identity IQ scores, gonna all look different. All right? Because now they're taking into account more of your history. But what it also allowed, which I can assist if anybody is a renter out there and you want your rent reported to your credit report, that opened up the opportunity for your rent to be reported to your credit report, your cell phone bill to be reported to your credit report, as well as utilities, lights, gas, and water. Now, what I done always told y'all, when you're trying to build your credit score, you need what? 5 trade lines. Rent, lights, gas, water, cell phone bill can now be reported as trade lines. So the longer you keep that cell phone number, the longer it is tied to an account. That is also calculated into your payment history. See that? Every time that you late paying that cell phone bill, that's getting reported too.
All right.
All right. So now, for more about this topic and how it impacts you, www.nthcredit.net, 888-959-2093. Holla at your boy, let's go get that money.
All right, y'all heard it here, Mr. Henderson and his wonderful credit repair episode. And if you need a credit repair coach, if you need someone to help you with your restoration of getting your credit back in shape, please call him at 1-888-959-2093, extension 103, or you can catch him online at nthcredit.net. All right, and so we have a big shout out. We want to shout out to Joy's Pottery, which is our wonderful sponsor. If you want to become a sponsor, you can become a sponsor today by joining our wonderful The Gift of Life community home, and we will broadcast your beautiful flyer just like this, your logo. Yes, Joy's Pottery, the best CBD products. And so we will blast your wonderful flyer all across our big screen and tell everybody how you're a wonderful sponsor, just like Miss Joy's Pottery. And she has some great CBD products. And if you want to sample or you want to get this product, please give us a call. We are selling it at our new place of business right there at 2303. That is Park Lake Drive right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's our new building where we're going to be having our classes starting Saturday. So if you're interested, please give us a call, and our open house, which will be Saturday evening. Okay, so give us a call, 959-2093, and that's 404-888-959. I'm sorry, 404. I don't do this very often, y'all. We're live, but it's 404-631-6360. All right, so please give us a call. Thanks.
Go and get your credit fixed.
Go and get your credit fixed. All right, so until next week, thank you for joining us and watching the show. Holla at your girl.